Guys, today I have an amazing person. His name is David Anthony. He's currently an actor, and I think that he has a great possibility in the future to do amazing things. I welcome you to the J-Flow Experience. This is the Drippy Faucet podcast, and I hope that you have a blast today on the show. Earlier we were talking a little bit about movies, right?
Yeah.
And one of my early favorite movies was Ace Ventura.
The Pet Detective.
Yes. And Jim Carrey to me was like an outlandish, crazy ass character that you could never really know what he was gonna do, and he always hit you with some random ass funny faces.
Right. I thought you looked like rubber, kind of like his face looked like it was.
Yes, definitely, and I think that's part of his character, and just kind of like, you know how rubber's elastic.
Right.
So was his character. Like, it could just stretch in any direction and then make you laugh. So when I was younger, a lot of people would tell me like, oh, like, why don't you get into like acting and shit like that? And to be honest, I don't think I was really good at memorizing lines.
Right.
You know, like, I think that's like the bottom line.
Right.
As to why I never really got into acting. But I feel like that love for the craft is kind of like secretly somewhere in there, where like I would like to like kind of like do something like that one day. But like Jim Carrey, man, like, he's definitely gonna go down as one of my favorite like actors of all time.
I mean, he's probably one of the funniest. I think I grew up watching like The Mask.
Yeah.
A little more than I did like.
That was a badass movie, bro.
Yeah. I remember he would just like transform into all those different characters and stuff like that. But I don't know. I like Jim Carrey. I think when I was a kid, I liked that. I liked like Pirates of the Caribbean. Right now, my favorite movie is probably Django Unchained. You ever seen that one?
You know what? I feel really bad because I'm usually pretty good with like a lot of these badass movies, especially Django, because it was written and produced by
Tarantino.
the one and only Tarantino.
Yeah.
And his movies are just bold, like crazy bold, right? And so I kind of feel bad. But like, why is it your favorite movie though?
I think it had like, I grew up watching westerns with my great grandpa. Like he used to pick me up from school every day, and then we'd go home. And he would always buy me food or something like that. We'd all go, we'd sit in front of the TV, and we would watch westerns together until 4:00, because that's when Judge Judy would come on.
Yeah,
until
his time, right?
Yeah, that was his time. But until then, we just watched I watched westerns with my tata all the time, and so I had a love for westerns. I think Tarantino did too. So when you watch that movie, he threw in like a lot of old school like spaghetti western like kind of music, like Ennio Morricone and all that. I think that was his name. He'd use his old music. The way he'd like, I think his cinematography is really dope. The way he makes everything look. I think he has like that old school style where like, did you know there was a movie from the '60s called Django?
I think I might have been familiar with that.
Well, he got the original dude who played Django in a scene.
Yeah.
In his
movie.
Yeah. And there's a part where the dude asks him, he's like, "What's your name?" He's like, "Django." He's like, "How do you spell it?" He goes, DJANGO. He goes, "The D is silent." And he looks at him, he's like, "I know," because he was the original Django.
Oh, that's so fucking dope.
Yeah.
Oh man, that's hella dope.
There's like a lot of little stuff that he throws in that I really like, and I like how, I know the movie's really violent and all, but he doesn't use any computerized blood. He uses like all squibs and all that and stuff. So it's pretty cool.
So it kind of brings in kind of like that, like realism, right?
I guess so. Yeah, it gives you flashbacks, but then it's bolder for sure. It's definitely a bold movie.
Yeah.
But
Have you participated in any filming where it's violent?
I guess so. I mean, I did one in high school where I got killed. I got shot in the shoulder and I got shot in the head. You see me get shot in the head, you see the blood kind of.
What the fuck? How did that work? Did you have like a little bag or something?
No, they use computerized blood.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, so all I had to do was throw my head back and all that, and they kind of just threw in.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it was fun. Besides that, nothing too violent, I don't think.
Yeah.
I've been in projects where there's scenes of violence, but not too many of them had me.
Yeah.
You know.
Do you think that there's a benefit to making movies that are violent, or are you Because you know how there's a lot of people that say like, oh, you know, society's all violent because these video games are violent,
Right.
these movies are violent, so we're teaching this to our kids.
Right.
Or do you think that there's a benefit to making those movies?
I think there's more of a benefit. I mean, it's from personal experience. I mean, I watched a lot of violent. I watched The Godfather when I was 8, and I was never violent.
Right.
Didn't do anything crazy.
Yeah.
I played Call of Duty as a kid too. I didn't ever feel like
I'm totally normal.
Yeah. See, I didn't think I was crazy at all. Like
Right.
like that I wanted to do anything violent or anything. I think I don't know. I think if you're gonna do something, you probably will do it. There's just those certain things can push you, but I think eventually something at some point is gonna push you. Whether it's video games or something else.
Yeah. No, I totally agree with you because, I mean, I've done all sorts of like researching of like mass murders, right?
Right.
Because I'm just like curious, like, or see like a cult leader, and I'm like, why is it that so many people blindly or knowingly, consciously follow these people into their patterns that were obviously like self-destructive, but yet you can't really tell. And so like I'm curious, right? So I want to learn about these things, but at the same time it's like, where is this exactly like leading me, right? And so my idea is that it's not necessarily like video games or movies that's driving us insane. It's probably other people around us, right? Like society itself.
Yeah, I don't think that has too much to do. I'm actually in college right now, but I had a professor who said, I don't know if it's true or not, but he said, you know what music Charles Manson said inspired him? The Beatles.
So he's saying that Charles Manson said that the Beatles inspired him to be a cult leader?
Yeah, and to do violent things. And
Whoa.
so the Beatles aren't very violent. So
Right.
I don't think you can put too much of a connection
On music
or
pop culture.
Pop culture, yeah.
So what I'm taking from that is like everything's open to interpretation. If you're a lunatic, you can just be haywire. You know,
if you're sick, you're sick.
Right. Like, not necessarily a lunatic, right? But like, I think when I think about Charles Manson, there is a negative connotation towards his name. So using the word lunatic is definitely like a negative connotation.
Right.
And at the same time, being like mentally sick is not necessarily a negative thing, right? So in a sense, like if I would have said like he's sick, like it's almost like saying like everybody else who's mentally sick or going through some issues is also kind of putting them on the same thing. But if I said like a lunatic, now I'm saying like, no, you specifically are either a psychopath or a sociopath. So like your intentions on humanity are negative. You know what I mean? Or you're trying to cause some sort of harm to people, right? And the reason why I bring this out is because, I mean, you are acting. You know what I'm saying? So do you feel like you have like some type of a responsibility to society?
I think I've recently done like 2 little short film roles, and they're the first time that they really let me speak and they really let me get into character. And I think it's kind of like whatever you're trying to act out, you're trying to find someone who would like kind of connect with that.
Yeah.
You're trying to find like there's people out there who that's them, I guess you could say, that you're playing. Like there's people who connect to that character, and I think it's more so like it's your job kind of to be them, and you have to basically make it as real as possible. So I don't know, I think the responsibility is just trying to make it believable, trying to be that person.
Right.
Rather than like, I don't know. I mean, I think I've heard every character is a part of you, but I think that's true. But I think it's also you need to take that part of you that kind of connects to other people. You need to put yourself in their place, so that way they can feel it too.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
No, I mean, I'm kind of understanding what you're saying is like, your responsibility is not necessarily to be the good guy. Your responsibility is to pretty much play that character as humanly as possible.
Right.
So that you project that realness onto the screen.
Right.
So that, like, as a puzzle, because you're one puzzle, right?
Right.
Then there's other factors, other puzzles that get together because the writer, he has a vision.
Right.
And hopefully this vision is a good vision, right? Like, I feel for the most part when you watch movies, there's some sort of idea or message, right? That I think overall is a good thing for society. They're trying to tell you something, right? And so they're the ones with the responsibility to society to feed responsibility something positive, right? And your responsibility is not necessarily to be like, oh, well, you know, this seems anti this or anti that or anti this. Maybe overall the message is good, right?
Yeah. And you're also like, both times I kind of like, the director's open to let you have like ideas. If you think, oh, I wouldn't say it like that, it's not,
sounds whack.
Yeah, sounds whacker. It's like that doesn't feel right. Then they'll let you kind of like they'll talk to you about it and all that. They kind of figure it out just to make it more, I don't know, just so it feels right.
Yeah. Have you worked improv before?
Yeah. There's a film I worked on called Reflection.
It's all improv.
It's the whole thing. The director, I don't know if you've ever seen Hermanos.
No.
It's a short film on YouTube. It's about 25 minutes.
I want to watch it.
Yeah, the dude who directed that, his name is Timur Butsin. He directed that, Hermanos, and then he directed this one, Reflection.
Yeah.
And Hermanos, I found out, is all improv too, actually. But what he does is he writes it, he sets up the scene, kind of the way he wants it to go. He'll give you how it should go, the attitude. He'll tell you if you're arguing. He doesn't tell you what exactly you're gonna argue about, and then he'll let it kind of unfold as
and then he's like kind of watching it and seeing like,
and then he'll say, okay, cut, and he'll tell you, okay, I like this, but maybe suggest this now, and then from there you kind of play off it.
So it's not 100% like improv,
right?
It's kind of like a 50-50.
Basically, yeah. You have a good idea of where the scene is gonna go, but what you really say and how you say it is kind of on you.
Yeah.
And it's I don't know, I kind of like it. It's nerve-wracking.
Yeah, but I feel like the freedom is fun because you're allowed to freestyle.
Yeah, it gives you a little bit of a bigger say.
Yeah,
how
hell
things
yeah.
are going down.
Are you familiar with the Mexican actor Cantinflas?
I am. Yeah, he did comedy.
Yeah. Well, he did all sorts of film in Mexico. He essentially became the first Mexican to ever get the award, the Golden Globe.
Right.
And he did it by doing improv. So he would show up to all his film, and they'd give him, all his scripts, and he'd just go freestyle everything.
He kind of just threw him up on
his own thing. But he was that genius that, I mean, once the camera was on, he was a freaking comic to the core.
He was good.
And I'm sure to some extent he had like the framework in his head, like the structure, but it was all him. You know what I'm saying? Like almost 100%. Almost kind of like, you know how you say like the director you were talking about from Hermanos and such, it's like kind of like 50-50. I feel like Cantinflas was like almost like 15%, like 50% structure, and then like the rest 85% just boom. My shit's funnier than this.
Right.
And just kind of going with that. Is that something that you think is almost like non-existent today?
I think there are people who still do that. Like, I think if you're seeing the original Aladdin, I think they said they had 16 hours of footage of Robin Williams where they kind of just let him go for it. And they said, they kind of cut it up and they put what they did in the original movie. So I think there's still like people out there that do that, and they are genius, like Robin Williams was. And I don't know. I think it's a little more rare now, but
yeah.
And like there's one I think Chris Tucker's really funny and all. And if you watch there's a movie called Jackie Brown, which is by Tarantino, and if you watch it, it's a good one. And it's probably one of his lesser known films, but he made it right after Pulp Fiction, right before Kill Bill. And Chris Tucker's in one scene in it, but I heard some, I don't know if it's true or not, but he improv a lot of that scene. And they said that, Tarantino almost never lets anyone kind of do that.
Yeah, because he wants to be in full control.
Right. And so I don't know if that's true. I heard that.
Right. It's
but
just a rumor.
Yeah, but I think it's pretty cool that if it did, like, that Chris Tucker kind of went for it there. I think there's certain people out there that
have the level of talent.
Yeah, but I think it's more so comedians a lot of the time.
Dude, comedians are powerful, bro.
Yeah. If you look at like Dave Chappelle.
Yeah. Have you seen the new special by Dave Chappelle?
Yeah.
How from a 1 through 10, how dope was it?
That was pretty awesome. I'd probably give it a 10.
Shit, I gotta watch it. Like the homie was just telling me today, he's like, dude, I saw it and I was so high that I laughed at everything and I don't remember anything. But I'm like, god damn it, like now I gotta watch it myself. But yeah, bro, have you ever been to the comedy club?
No. I never seen stand-up comedy.
Oh man, it's. I think that as an actor, it's gonna help you.
Actually, real quick, Luis Garcia. I saw him do stand-up.
I don't know who that is. Who's that?
He was at the homie to homie meeting. Yeah.
Really?
I think so. Yeah.
He's a comedian.
Yeah.
Like a stand-up comedian.
Yeah. He's a. I've worked with him on.
What does he look like? Maybe I remember him.
He looks Latino.
All of them. All right, that's cool.
I was in a music video with him too. El Chivo. You ever heard of Burner, the rapper Burner?
No, dude.
Oh, okay.
I guess we're not that cool.
Yeah, no.
Yeah,
no, he's a good guy. He's funny.
Yeah, but I would strongly recommend going to the Comedy Store. I think I said the Comedy Club earlier, but I mean the Comedy Store.
Right.
It's in Hollywood, and you'll see like legitimate comedians.
Right.
Like, are you familiar with Bobby Lee?
No.
Okay, he's the shit. He's fucking hilarious. He's a genius on stage. And then I think that as an actor, you're gonna be able to just gain all these different like skills and qualities that you see from them, because they're on it, bro. They're on it. And everyone is freaking dying from laughter because it's legitimate, right? And what I've noticed is that they say the truth, the ultimate truth, the shit that you're too scared to say.
They'll say it.
The comedian is saying it because they know how much everyone thinks about it, but how much courage we lack to say it. And that's the perfect job. It's the perfect job. You get to be an asshole on stage and make pretty decent money. Right? So I think that's pretty dope. Let me see. Other comedians. Well, you said Dave Chappelle's like.
I like Dave Chappelle. I like Paul Rodriguez was funny.
Yeah.
You ever heard of Felipe Esparza?
Yes, dude, he's dope, bro. You know about his story?
I know he was from East LA.
Yeah.
And then I've heard him say stories about him growing up, but I don't know.
Wait, you've met him before?
No. I just heard it in his
He has a
stand-up.
podcast.
He does?
Felipe Esparza has
I
a
never listened to
podcast.
it.
It's called "What's Up, Fool?" That fool's hilarious.
That sounds like, yeah.
Well, I've seen him, on the Joe Rogan podcast, and every time people show up on that podcast, they pretty much talk about everything, right? And Felipe Esparza has a very, very unique, interesting story. The brother didn't have any papers, crossed the border, so he has
his little brother had to dress up as his little sister. He said
yes, and then his little brother ended up being gay.
Right.
So there's these ideas that was it because we forced him to dress like a little girl? I don't think so, right? I think that maybe you're born that way or whatever.
Right.
But it's just funny because, well, not necessarily funny, but it's crazy how he grew up in the hood, going through all this crazy shit, and he ends up like making it, but not making it right away. And I feel like a lot of people have a lot of pressure, especially like maybe like your age, right? You coming out of high school and you're thinking to yourself like, I gotta make something happen now, and if I don't make it happen now, then when? Right. But then you see people like Felipe Esparza, and years after high school, they're pretty much quote unquote, if you ever see this, Felipe, I love you, you're a genius. You might see them and think they're fucking up in life.
Right.
They're doing all sorts of drugs. I think this fool say he was on PCP all the time. They'd be at little family gatherings. Imagine a carne asada for like your nephew's 7th birthday, and fools just show up with a blunt and they lace it with PCP, and then you start tripping. Like that's the type of shit that he would talk about.
Right.
But then you go to jail, you experience all these things,
right.
You get out. He was connected to Father Boyle.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Was he?
Yeah.
Like a homeboy?
Yeah.
No
yeah. So there's all these connections right there.
I actually I met him this week for the first time. I didn't really say anything. We kind of were as close as you and I are.
Oh,
we
shit.
looked at each other and he smiled at me, and I just smiled at him. And I'm in a group picture with him.
Yeah.
A bunch of the guys who were from the streets to the set are in the picture, and they're connected to him. There was a little event called Somos la Arte, and I think I remember he was there because Richard Cabral had set it up, and he was there, you know, because Richard came from Homeboy Industries and all that and stuff. So.
Yeah, and that's why I'm so happy about Homeboy Industries, because they've basically been able to provide an opportunity for the genius fools from the hood. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. That have, for whatever reason, landed in jail and almost ruined their lives, but they have this talent that no matter what's happened to them, it hasn't been killed, right? And two people obviously that come to mind that you know is Richard Cabral, obviously dope ass story, and then Felipe Esparza, right? They show up to Father Boyle.
Joey Ray Lucero, one of the guys from the Mayans. He's on Mayans MC. He's on the show with Richard and all that.
Is he like the older cat?
Nah, he's young. He's got a shaved head on the show. He's got a beard.
Okay.
He's all tatted up from the neck down.
I think I've seen him like hanging out.
He was there last
talking
week
to a couple of the cats from the streets to the set.
Yeah.
Damn.
He was there last week at that too.
In my opinion, bro, that's some of the most inspiring things. Like, I've had the great pleasure and honor of meeting is like the group of Streets That Says, you know, with Berenice being the leader, the head of it all, and just, you know, she's a badass. Like, she just pushes so hard and works so hard, and her leadership skills are on point, and, you know, like, she's doing her part, right?
She's the toughest one on set.
For sure. And then, you know, getting all the meetings with like the homie to homies, and then having you know, like the brilliant like Richards, right, and having all these characters, but like going back to like Father Boyle, you know, like I feel like Father Boyle is a very unique, interesting person because he's a white guy, you know what I'm saying, and he's using like church, Jesus Christ, the Bible essentially, right, as this tool of salvation, and in a way, it's really interesting to me because, you know, the Bible first came to America as a colonizing tool. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was used to pretty much like imprison people, and it's crazy. It's crazy to me how something that once imprisoned someone can be the source of inspiration and liberation for people today.
Yeah.
And I mean, I have nothing against it, dog. Because when I look at all of that, I have no choice but to just sit in awe and be inspired.
Right.
When you look at that and you see that you're a part of a great team, how do you feel?
I feel really blessed. I couldn't believe I actually got to be a part of this, because I think I actually feel really close to pretty much everyone involved from the streets to the set. There's new members who I don't know too well yet, but a lot of the usuals I know real well, and everyone's always been cool with me. Everyone always treated me right. You know, it's weird because, like, you know, when you go to school and all that and stuff, and, you know, you get a cool teacher every now and then who will be like, who tries to make you guys feel like you're a family, but you never feel like you're a family with, like, your classmates or anything like that.
Right.
The same thing at work sometimes, too, but now it's different, kind of, with from the streets that actually, like, feel close to them. Like, I'll hang out with the people that are part of it and all that, and you know, I don't know, it's different. It just feels like it's right, and I got real blessed because I don't know if you know who Jimmy Valdez is. Jimmy.
Jimmy. He came to my class one time.
Okay.
Yeah, he's dope, man.
So the reason I'm involved with From the Streets to Sales is because he came and spoke at my high school, and he spoke at my high school about acting and all that, and, you know, where he came from, his background and all that, and how if he could do it, you know, any of us could. And I remember, like, when I was young, I wanted to be an actor. All throughout, like, when I was a little kid, kind of when I started high school, I was like, nah, I don't. I kind of like was like, I thought that was unrealistic, and I kind of felt like, I don't know, I just felt like, oh, that kind of sounds dumb or whatever. And I thought, I'd make a good stuntman. Maybe I'll be a stuntman. Then I thought, nah, it's unrealistic, and I thought, firefighter. I'll be a firefighter. And I was always good in school. I think I was like a BC student, you know.
Handling business.
Yeah, I just handle my business, and I talked to my counselor. I was like, I'm kind of thinking about being a firefighter, and he's like, it's almost impossible unless you've either been in the military or you know someone who's already a firefighter that could get you in. I was like, I don't know then, maybe I'll work. I decided on I'll work in the recreation field. And then Jimmy kind of came to my school during my last week of high school and spoke. And I kind of thought, dang, like, I've always still wanted to do acting. Like I've always wanted to and had it in the back of my mind. And thought maybe I'll try it, maybe I'll try it. And then I was like, you know what? This is someone who knows how to do it. This is a good chance for me to go talk to him. And at first I was like, you know what? I'm not gonna. And the kid next to me was like, let's go talk to him after the speech. I said, no, I don't want to bug him. I'm gonna let him do something. Let's go talk to him. I said, all right, whatever. So I went up and he would talk to him, and then Jimmy looked at me. He was like, oh, so what's your name? Where'd you grow up? I was like, oh, David. My full name is David Anthony McGill. And you know, I told him where I grew up, all that, and so he said, you interested in acting? And I was like, yeah, I am. Or he asked me, are you an actor? And I was like, not really, but I mean, I've always wanted to be. I want to be. And so he talked to me for a good little while there, and then he said, well, give me your information. I did, and he actually started messaging with me back and forth, and one day I was like, you know, could we hang out? And he was like, yeah. So we went on a hike, and then from there we just kind of kept hanging out. And then one day he said, you want to be on a TV show? And I was like, he's like, just as an extra? And I was like, yeah, I do.
You're like, do I want to be happy in life?
Yeah. Do I want to do what I want to do? Yeah. So he connected me to Bernice, and you know, kind of took off from there.
Yeah.
And I feel pretty blessed.
Yeah, dude, I'm like so happy for you and excited, because like obviously, like, I got that feeling like when I first met Richard, I kind of like, it was a very translucent feeling, because I had seen him in The End of Watch.
Yeah, I seen that one too when I was like 12. It came out.
And I must have been like 16 or 17 at the time, and I was just like, I was so happy, because even though the Mexican guy, the Latino guy, was playing like a cholo, he looked like a fucking real ass cholo, dog.
Yeah.
You know, like, I knew that when I saw him on screen, I was like, that was
real.
Yeah,
that was real.
Yeah, I was like, this one looks like one of the fools from the block that I see when I'm walking around. And I'm like, it's perfect. It's perfect. And then the acting was legit, bro. Like, I would watch it and I'm like, it doesn't seem, you know how sometimes it's like kind of like you can tell that they're forcing to act. And a great actor never forces anything. It's just flawless. Mm-hmm. Whatever they're acting, that's just what they do. They're so fucking good at it, and they're doing it. And that happened there, right? And ever since then, I've seen him in all these different like things. And then when I saw him there, I was like, whoa, like, this is crazy.
Right.
You know, I also don't like to be the type to like bother people. Mm-hmm. You know, like, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's a character flaw, or maybe it's a lack of cojones, but whatever. He fucking passed right through me, so I was like, why not say hi? You know?
Right.
So I introduced myself to him. I said, hey, I have this podcast thing, it'd be really crazy. And then he's like, oh shit, like, here's my number, whatever, I'll be on it. I hit him up, and he's been really busy, as you know. You know,
right, Mayans, he's
exactly
Mayans right now.
Yeah, exactly. And you know what I really respected? I respected the fact that he kindly responded to me. Like, that's a big deal, man.
I tripped out because he did the same thing with me. I just gotta say, okay, real quick. The first time I met him at a coffee shop. Jimmy took me to meet him there.
Yeah.
Because he asked me, he said, do you know who Richard Cabral is? And I was like, yeah. I was like, dude, I had seen End of Watch, but I didn't remember his name from that. Like, I didn't know who he was. And then I used to watch a show called Lethal Weapon on Fox. It came out when I was like 16. And I'd watch it, and he was a cop on that show. And I remember I was like, I never seen a cop with all like neck tattoo that looked like a homeboy, and then in the show he was a former homeboy who became a cop and all that.
Interesting. That's
and
interesting.
I really liked his character, and then all of a sudden he wasn't in the show anymore, and I was like, dang, he was my favorite character. And then I I seen him in some other stuff that was sort of popping up, like even in the episode of Key and Peele, he was in that and stuff like that.
No
and,
way.
Yeah, yeah.
He knows Peele.
Yeah.
Oh my
He was in the episode of that, but like I would see him pop
That's
up
magical.
in like a bunch of stuff, and I was like, oh. And then he came out in like Peppermint, which From the Streets of the Set was part of. Came out in what was it, Breaking In, and all that. I was
Breaking
seeing
Bad?
No, Breaking In. It was another movie.
Okay.
What was her name? Gabrielle Union.
Yeah, the beautiful.
Yeah, I heard. And I tripped out because he played a character named Duncan. That's my dad's name in real life. Yeah. But anyways, I was seeing him in all this stuff, and Sons of Anarchy was my favorite show at the time. Because I started watching that when I was in 3rd grade. Because my dad rides motorcycles and all that. My dad, if you look at my dad, full on like biker and everything. And so that was my favorite show growing up. And then they're having a spin-off Minds, and I saw he was part of it. And I tripped out. I was like, that's awesome. And so I knew I researched all about him after Lethal Weapon because I really liked his character in that. And when I met him at that coffee shop, he came in. There's this other guy, Alex Sam, who's a really good photographer. And he knew Alex, and he went over and, hugged him. He's like, how you doing? I had met Alex before I got there early and talked to Alex, and he came over, hugged him. And then he looked at me, and he looked into my eyes, and it was eyes I had seen on TV like a million times. And he looked me dead in the eye, and he goes, hi, I'm Richard, and he puts his hand out. And I'm like, I'm kind of like an airhead, and I looked at him, and I was like, I know. I was like, I know. And then I was like, I mean, I'm David. And I shook his hand. And he was like, oh, okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
And there's a bigger group of people there. And then he even addressed me in the group. He said something about me in the conversation. I remember being like, oh, shit, he acknowledged me. Like, that's a trip. And then...
that's beautiful, man.
Yeah, and then... and Mayans had came out by that time. And he was one of my favorite characters in Mayans. He was, I loved his character in Mayans. And then I met him, and... fast forward, I've met him a few more times now, and he actually helped set up, he has an acting coach named Anthony Gilardi, the guy who kind of coached him, and he set up so about 13 From the Streets of the Set members could go to his acting coach for free, and I'm one of the 13 actually, and before he even set that up at Homie to Homie, I talked to him, and I was like, I really kind of, I know who you're acting, like, I want to attend his school and all that, and he had my email, and he was like, all right, just say the word, and he said, I'll help you get in, and he even emailed me, Gilardi's information, and Bernice found out I went to him on my own and all that, and I was like, oh my God, am I going to be in trouble? And she was like, no, I want you to be part of this group, and sure enough, now I started classes about 2 weeks ago. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Okay. So I've never had any classes like that or anything. Although, in the future, I'm super down to do things like improv, just because of like the relaxed state, in a sense. Like I'm not afraid of like the pressure. I'm not afraid of like people looking at me like. And if I say something stupid or funny or whatever, oh well, we're all in this together. But I don't know if you ever seen the show Barry on HBO.
It's the one with Bill Hader
where he's
he's an assassin who takes like acting. I haven't watched it, but I know about it.
Okay. So part of the show, it revolves around him trying to become an actor, right? So I wanted to ask you if it's something similar to that, where basically there's the sensei, right? The big time, actor who's been doing it for a long time. You pay him a gang of money, and then he teaches you how to get to the ultimate point, which is, I don't know, Hollywood, for example, right? But it's a very interesting show, super hilarious. Bill Hader's obviously fucking
he's
amazing,
funny,
dude.
He's funny. I remember seeing him in Superbad back in the day.
As a cop?
He was the cop in that one. Him and Seth Rogen. They're asking the girl. They're like, movie. So what he look like? And because they're like, were they like? Because they were white. They're like, were they like you? And the girl was black. And she's like, then she was like, what do you mean? They're like, he looked like you. Okay. He's like, oh, okay, Jewish.
Dude, that honestly, bro, So what's the name of the guy that wrote that movie? Seth Rogen.
Yeah, Seth Rogen.
Seth Rogen. Oh man, it's so beautiful. Like I love being a fan of all of this stuff, just because it was always in crucial times of my life where I needed a laugh, you know, and these movies provided that for me. Like that whole movie of Superbad is just like brilliantly made for my dumbass, you know, like everything is comedic to the core. And I don't know, by today's standards it'd be a little problematic with many different things or whatever, but I mean, I can't sit here and pretend like I'm perfect about anything.
Right.
You know, if you're saying something funny, like I'm gonna freaking laugh my ass off, right? And there's so many different parts in that movie that are just like on point, hilarious, and amazing. But back to you guys and Gilardi.
Yeah.
What is that like, man? What, like, as far as like the experience, what you're learning, how you're growing, etc.
So I had sat in on his classes before, so I knew I took a drama class in high school, and I kind of, because I didn't want to do the plays. I you know, like musical and dancing and all that. It wasn't really
your thing.
That wasn't my thing. I'm not saying it never will be. Just not right now.
But you weren't too enthused by that.
No, I wasn't too enthused by that.
On some Glee shit, right?
Yeah, I wasn't really trying to do it. I used to watch shows like Mayans and Sons of Anarchy. And
right, you're like, this is like, my lane, dude.
This is more mine, and you know, the other stuff is cool and all that,
right. But it's still like, I feel like that, you know, Glee stuff, it's still really good to develop your overall arsenal.
I think so, and I think it takes a lot of courage to go out there and do all that, because I don't know. One day maybe I'll get around to all that, but like in high school I was like, no, that wasn't me. And but I took a drama class though in high school, and I did that, and then when I went to college, I took my drama class in high school and in college because they counted as my art credits, and I can't draw to save my life. So I was like, you know what, I have no issue getting up in front of a crowd of people and saying lines, and that's fun. So, but I had taken those classes, and those acting teachers, you know, it taught me a lot being in front of people and memorizing lines and all that. But with Gilardi, it's hard to explain, but it's different. Like, I think someone even described it as to like therapy.
Whoa,
yeah,
that's some deep stuff.
Because we've done 2 classes so far, and it really, like, you get emotional in that class. Kind of, you get you have to be. What's the word when you're like vulnerable? Okay. You have to be vulnerable, and everyone kind of has to get to know you, and they kind of, they see your weaker side, and he kind of shows how to bring out the most of you. And he doesn't just teach you acting. He's starting to teach us storytelling and how to write scripts. We haven't got to it yet. He's gonna teach us how to set up lighting and all that for a set.
Yeah.
Like all this stuff, he's gonna teach us a lot. But you know, it feels a lot like, you know, we do acting exercises that really like get you.
Yeah.
I don't know how to explain. I don't want to give all his stuff away.
Yeah, for sure. But
he's got some good ones.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're telling us what he does. Right. You're telling us what you feel.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's very fair. And dude, I feel like that's such a special experience. You know, too. Because one of my questions was like, how is it making you grow? And it's clear, right, that it's more than just teaching you a skill. Mm-hmm. You know, it's teaching you to grow up and understand the importance of how in a community you have to be able to open yourself up. Because if you're in a community of people, whether it's like-minded or not, and if you're not willing to open yourself up, you're never going to have the possibility of being like the leader that you can be. Because I mean, if you're leading a group of soldiers that have their head on right, they're not going to be led by any freaking like random joke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like when you look at Bernice, for example, like you basically are under her steps or following her because you see those qualities. Mm-hmm. right? And so I guess it's really cool to see that you guys are right now with you say his name's Jelani?
Gilardi. Yeah.
Gilardi, sorry my guy.
And another thing about him is you could tell he really believes in us.
Like shit. That's genuine.
He
I love
actually,
it.
yeah, no,
Love
he does. We're actually gonna do at the end of our class. We're gonna all together as a class write a play,
Yeah.
and he's gonna direct it. We're gonna perform it. They already have a theater picked out and everything and stuff.
Legit
and so,
shit.
Yeah,
Legit
so
shit.
I'm gonna actually be on stage, delivering lines and all that and stuff.
I wish you the best of luck on that, and I know it's gonna go well. You know why I know that play is gonna be dope? Because of the chemistry y'all are developing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's like going to play basketball with your boys that you've been playing for 10 years or something, right? Like you know where your homie's gonna be at.
Right.
You can close your eyes and pass it there because you know he's gonna be there. You trust that they're gonna make a shot. And in a sense, I'm using that basketball analogy to understand that when you have a team, you're as weak as your weakest link.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And that's the thing about individual sports versus team sports, or team activities versus individual activities, is that you can be the best mother effer alive, but if there's one person on your team that just sucks, they're gonna basically blow it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you're gonna be facing another team that has a strong chain, right? There's no weak link. Right, so they're gonna be able to withstand those impacts, right? That come, because in every path of life, there's these ups and downs. Like for example, me in teaching, you know how you were mentioning how your coach really believes in you,
Right?
Like genuinely believes in you,
Yeah.
and you can see that and you can feel that, and you're like, this is what's gonna motivate me to make sure that I don't let him down. Like I feel the same way with my students in class. Like I teach in Watts, so I have a bunch of students who have been failed by the educational system for many years, and who statistically will not be going on to 4-year universities, will not be successful quote unquote people. And I look at them and I think, man, fuck that. Fuck all those statistics. Right now you're with me. In my class you can be as successful as you want. Like the sky is the limit. Fucking go crazy, work hard.
Yeah.
Like your worst enemy is yourself, bro. Every day you look at yourself in the mirror and you either see a champion or you see a loser. And I'm not trying to get into like the mental gymnastics of it because I'm not a therapist, but I know what I feel. And I know that when I see myself, I see a winner. And that's, maybe some people are gonna be like, oh, you're freaking arrogant, you're cocky, what are you talking about? But how can we feel bad about other people feeling good about themselves?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you're a hater.
Exactly.
You're a hater, and like
I'd rather not. You know what I'm saying? And if we could be those people that let those kids know that they can be champions in life, that they can be winners in life, I think, what's the problem with that?
That's awesome. I was lucky enough to where I did have actually teachers in school that
believe
were
in you.
like that, and then there's ones that
You're just there collecting checks.
Yeah, you're just another number in their class, and they just got to get through. The how what was it, like hour? I think I had hour 20-minute class, hour 15-minute class. Something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah, the block schedules.
Right, yeah, I had block schedule.
They're like,
school.
fuck, this class sucks.
That's so
I have
fucking
David
awesome.
Anthony in this one.
Yeah.
Well, I went through that too, bro, in high school. Like, I had a bunch of pretty much crappy teachers that were not very involved in, like, the critical thinking aspect of, like, the educational model. They were just kind of there, like, giving us activities to kind of get through and walk through and just make sure that we don't kill each other in the classroom.
Right.
Or the type of teachers that kind of just went up there and lectured at a wall, in a way. I can think about Mr. Bowen. He was like this super tall white guy. He was super smart. Like, history was the shit.
Mhm.
And like, I was kind of like a history nerd my whole life, so
Right.
I was like the only kid in class that was like paying attention to his like lecture. So he would lecture for like 15-20
You
minutes
felt
in
bad
class.
for him too, didn't you? Because you're the only one.
Meanwhile, everyone is a bag fucking talking to
phone.
girls and fucking playing with their little fucking. You remember those you remember the
Fidget
little
spinner?
the fidget spinners? Do you also remember when people would make the like the little footballs out of paper?
Yeah,
And then they play at the field goal thing.
Yeah, what was it? They also used to always be. I remember kids always drawing in class, but they used to. What was that S? What was that symbol for? The
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah,
the homie
lines.
S,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
The street S.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that dude, that's classic, bro. And it's funny because, like, well, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay, you're 19. I'm 26. I'm 7 years older than you, and even then, like, it's like the same shit is going on in high school.
You're right.
You know, you just kind of got out, and then it's probably the same shit still going on in high school. Like, if you came to my classroom, you'll probably look at it and be like, wow, this is the same shit that I was going through. All right, which is kind of a problem in a way because, like, education has to change, right? Like, drastically if we're going to make any sort of change in society. And, like, we don't have to get into that conversation, but, like, there's so many things in society that need to change, and education is one of those things that nobody should sleep on, ever. And the messed up part is that a lot of kids have already, like, some of the smarter kids at my school, they've given up on education already just because it sucks so much. Like whether it be my class or whatever other teacher's class, they're in there, bro, and they're miserable.
I think no matter what school you go to, whether you go to, you know, a real fancy private school or a school that you know is just, you know, probably not the doesn't have the most funds or doesn't have, like, you know, the most support. Whether you go to either or, there's always gonna be people that don't believe in themselves and they kind of, you know, whether they're given the opportunities or not given as many opportunities, there's gonna be people who aren't gonna take the opportunities at all.
That's true.
And so you could look at statistics, whether it's a fancy school or it's not a fancy school, and it's like, dang, like, there some people just don't, they quit before they even start. Like, I didn't want to be in school and all that, and I told my counselor, I said, I remember in high school, because I remember I would go, I had a cool counselor senior year named Mr. Mayer, who he was awesome. I actually never really went to my counselors in high school, but I would go see him when I started applying for college and all that, and he genuinely believed in all of us, and I think he wanted us to do good. You know, he wanted us to succeed, and I remember telling him I didn't want to go. I hated high school. I didn't want to be there. I didn't want to do nothing. Like, I just never liked school. And he told me, he was like, well, you actually have. He's like for hating it as much as you do. He's like, you actually have good attendance and you have pretty good grades. So I figure, you know, if I'm here, I might as well do what I have to do. You know, I might as well get it done, because it's kind of the point. I always never wanted to go to college, but, you know, my dad never went to college, and he's done. You know, he was all. I think he was more of a troublemaker when he was younger, but when he got lucky, he actually straightened out, and he was never bad or nothing, but he wasn't, you know, I think he was definitely more of a troublemaker than I ever was, and he kind of straightened out, and, you know, he got a job, but he's done labor work his whole life, and, you know, now he's got a bad back, and he's in pain a lot, and you know, he's got to work till he's old, and you know, he doesn't want that for me. I think, you know, he wants me to go to college, because he sees as that's the opportunity I have, where I can get a job that, you know, I'll have options. I don't have to break my back every day. My mom went to college. My mom was real smart. My mom went to, you know, Loyola Marymount University.
Mm-hmm. The local one, right?
Yeah. My mom went there, actually, nice. and she's always been bright and all that, and she's actually a teacher as well. She's a second grade teacher. Yeah.
Damn, second grade, man.
Yeah.
They're second graders, man. They're extremely cute, but they need a lot of attention, and I'm sure your mom can vouch for that.
Yeah.
But that's crazy, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can relate to your father being a laborer, because my father is also a laborer. You know, since day one. You know what I'm saying? You come here. whether you're an immigrant or you've been here in this country. But when you do labor, hard labor, it literally destroys your body.
Yep.
And my dad's already like 59, 58, 59. And he's pretty much already shown me huge signs of his body decaying. And it makes me really sad.
Yeah.
You know, because I look at it and I'm just like, he can't really work out or run around and do what he used to do.
My dad's younger than yours and same thing.
He's kind of already gone through that.
Oh yeah, his body's shot.
Right. So when they talk about that, like education and shit, like, I didn't take it too seriously until junior year in college.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, the reason why I didn't take it too seriously until then was because, again, I'm not a student, man. Like, I'm not a student of the book.
Right.
I'm a student of life. You know, and I really, really, like, treasure that, and I acknowledge that, and I like to be a good student of that, because that's what excites me, you know what I'm saying? Like this for me is part of that human experiment of life, where in the future I'm gonna look at these things and just be like, wow, that's fucking amazing.
Yeah.
You know, like I'm 26 today, and then 10 years from now I'm 36, and God knows where I'll be.
Right.
You know, like the way I see it is like I have a head start right now in this new world of like the digital world. You know what I'm saying? Like that's where we're going. Now 100%. Like teaching and all that, that's gonna be obsolete. And I don't know, man, in the next couple decades. You know, I can't really get into that as far as like real data, because I don't know. But I have I have a good feeling that being a teacher like I am right now, that traditional teaching model is not gonna exist for too long.
You got more like online school.
Yeah, exactly. And we're all gonna get cut. You know, nobody's gonna care about us. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a ruthless world. You know, like they don't care that I've worked freaking 5 years to get to this point, right? They don't care. They're just like, either you got it or you don't. You're not the guy that I want, so go find another means.
Right? Yeah, I think teachers. What was it? I think they said. I love rap music, but they said, there was a quote that said something that said maybe if we underpaid rappers or something like that, so we actually paid teachers, we'd have smarter kids and something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, I love rap, don't get me wrong.
I do too.
There's certain dudes out there who are intelligent, but they don't get enough attention. Like, you ever heard of Immortal Technique?
I may.
I seen him in concert when I was 11.
Damn. No, Immortal Technique is.
He was cool or what?
Nah, man, he's like a legit like genius.
He's a genius.
Yeah.
I like him.
And he actually showed up to my classroom, bro.
No way.
3 years ago.
No way.
Yeah, 3 years ago, and that's when I knew that I was in the right place. Because Trip Out, it wasn't because of me that he showed up.
Mm-hmm.
One of my students at the time, his name's Oscar. Shout out to Oscar. He's also one of those kids that going through shit, you know? But he's still dope as hell. Super smart, really talented. All sorts of talent. I'm talking about this fool has all sorts of talent. And he's like, we were co-teaching. Me and my boy Hernandez, SGN. He's also doing the YouTube thing. But anyways, he goes up to Hernandez and he says like, hey, would you like to meet Immortal Technique? Out of nowhere, you know?
You're like, yeah.
And then Mr. H, he was like, what? What do you mean? It's like, yeah. Do you want him to come to class? And then he's like, yeah, man, let's set this up. Wooty woo, blah, blah, blah. Surely enough, like next week, we get the message. And then Mr. H tells me, he's like, hey, Immortal Technique is showing up during advisory. And I'm just like freaking out, bro. I'm freaking out. I've never been that nervous in my life.
Right.
Because it's literally Immortal Technique. He shows up, man. He pulls into the classroom. And it's like my class, you know, so I'm comfortable, I do what I do, and when he gets there, I'm like nervous. So I start telling all my boys, because it was an advisory of like the most troubled Latino boys at school. And then I start telling them, I'm like, hey guys, like, I'm really fucking nervous right now. You know?
Like, you levels with him, you're like, I need your help.
yeah, for sure. And like he walks in, bro, and I just like, I don't really know what to say, so I let my boy handle that. Mr. H, and he's older than me, so he had a little bit thicker skin at the time. You know, I've grown a lot since then, and he's like, he introduces him, and I'm talking about these are some of the most hectic boys in school, which is so hard to tell them to shut the fuck up. Like they're always talking.
Yeah.
And as soon as Immortal Technique came in, We did not hear one single peep for 45 minutes. He's just talking, bro. He's just talking about anything and everything, from histories of Latin America to the neighborhood in New York and everything that you can think of.
He's from New York. He's Puerto Rican, right?
Yeah. No, he's not Puerto Rican. He's Peruvian. Yeah. And then at the end he has a Q&A and the kids ask him fucking amazing questions. You know, like some kid asked him something about you know, through all your success, have you found happiness? Things like that. And those are fucking dope questions. Because even
his answer to that, did you say?
I can't tell you because I don't remember. You know, like he talked a lot. He did some freestyles, bro. Like he just went on, and he was like, I was like, oh my god, this is crazy. The one thing I do really remember was I think someone asked him about like chains and materials, like how materialistic he was, and he was like, you see this watch right here? It looks like gold, but it's actually fake gold. You know, and then he started getting into the whole idea of rocks having fake value. And he's like, diamonds, they're overly priced and overly valued for what? It's just a fucking rock, right? We've been brainwashed to see all these different things, especially as poor people, you know, marginalized people, colonized people, and we are kept enslaved by purchasing things that don't fucking matter. And then we have all these stupid loans that are not going to take us anywhere, right? So when he said that to me, I really thought, you know, don't get me wrong, like I would love to have a badass gold chain and a badass like gold watch, and those are like my vanities, you know, where probably I feel somewhat insecure about certain things, and I think that that's gonna make me feel more like a baller or more successful or whatever, right? There's all these like different things that could happen. And when he said that, man, I really thought about that shit, and I knew all the kids were thinking about that
like
shit.
That, maybe I don't need one.
The reality is we don't. You know what I mean? And that's what I realized. And ever since then, I've always thought very heavily about making a purchase of that type, because it will make me feel good, but where's the value in it? You know, I'd rather make some sort of investment somewhere with that money that's gonna pay off. You know, even though you can argue that having a gold chain is also an investment, because maybe it costs $2,000 to get that chain today, and maybe 20 years from now it'll be $4,000. I don't know, right? It could work like that as well. But yeah, bro, Immortal Technique showed up.
That's cool.
And I could feel his presence in that classroom for weeks.
It's crazy how like people can do that. Like you just feel their presence. I think when I saw him in concert, I didn't know who he was. I was 11.
You just showed up? You just showed up to a random concert?
No, my Nina took me. It was originally because I liked Rage Against the Machine.
Ooh.
And they were the headliners. I think besides them, they had Rise Against, who I liked.
Rise Against is also sick.
Miss Lauryn Hill was there. And
damn, that's a fucking badass lineup.
And Muse.
That's the perfect, like, concert, man.
Yeah, there's only El Gran Silencio.
I'm not familiar with them.
I didn't know they were. I haven't really listened to them. Fun fact: I actually don't speak Spanish.
Yeah.
And they were a Spanish speaker. I listen to more Spanish music now, and even though I don't speak it, I like it.
I mean, it sounds good. I listen to Portuguese music.
Oh, for real? Yeah, I don't speak Portuguese.
Yeah, but it sounds good.
Yeah. So, I think growing up in Southern California, whenever you go anywhere, there's always like Spanish music.
For sure. For sure. The paisas are everywhere, bro.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. I think I went to a birthday about a week ago, and they had all banda playing and all that. And there weren't too many people there that I knew, and I was in someone would speak to me Spanish or whatever, and be like, oh,
I'm sorry.
Lo siento, no hablo español.
Yeah.
And they'd be like, why?
Hey, right. They look at you like, you look Mexican, bro.
Yeah. Fun fact, half Mexican, half white.
Yeah.
My dad was born in Scotland, but he was raised here.
Oh, shit. So your dad is also an immigrant?
Yeah, I guess you could say that. He is, but he came here when he was 1.
Okay.
And, you know, he got all you know, he's a citizen and all that now, but, he is funny. If you look at him, he was a white boy who grew up in like a more Mexican neighborhood.
Mm-hmm.
So I've seen his like high school pictures and all that. And he had a shaved head, big white tee. all that. I seen a picture of baggy dickies and all that.
Yeah. So he had the dope like gangster style and shit.
Yeah, I guess so. And like I don't have a godfather. I have a Nino.
Right.
Because his one of his best friends was Mexican. Like I think he told me all he ever went out was Mexican girls. My mom, and so,
right.
That's how I came to be.
Right.
So, yeah, no, I guess he is immigrant.
Yeah, I mean, it's impossible to ignore like the dominant culture in LA, which is probably very much like Latino.
Yep.
And I would say like primarily Mexican. There's a lot of fucking Mexicans everywhere.
Yeah. Especially LA.
And then closely followed by like the Central Americans.
Yep.
Like their culture is also like really, really strong in LA. And then they get smaller and smaller with different like groups, like I would say like when now you go to New York and shit, and then it's more like Puerto Rican and Cuban, and then you go to Miami, Florida, right? And that's more like Cuban. But at the end of the day, bro, we all we look alike. You know what I'm saying? Like I be looking at all these different groups and stuff, and I'm like, we look just the same, man. Like obviously, like if you speak Spanish, everyone has like a little different, like
little differences,
little kick to it or whatever. But at the end of the day, like I love feeling like we're all family, and I know that people feel like, they have all their reasons for creating separation, divisions. But I'm more on the side of like, man, like, yo, man, like, let's just stick together, man. Like, there's so much more power in being together and pushing for what you believe in together. And just sticking together, man. Overall, you have a larger chance of surviving. Like, even if you were in the wild, like, animals that evolved today evolved mainly because they stuck together. Right. They had communities. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, sometimes they eat each other. Hey, they're animals. It's gonna happen. Right. But certain animals created these like unspoken like truths where they wouldn't hurt each other. In fact, they'd protect each other, and they made it. And all the animals that were predators and only were by themselves, they didn't make it.
Yeah.
Except for the couple few, all right, like the wolves and the bears and all these other ones that kind of like, for whatever reason, they were obviously the most dominant of all the other predators.
They were big and bad enough.
Exactly. They made it through, right? And then when you apply that back to like humanity, it's kind of like, I'm not a predator, dog. Like, I see community. I see foods that are gonna push me to the next level, and I can push them to the next level, and so on and so forth. And that's one of those few times in life where theory from the books can actually really like help you in real life. You know what, bro? Like, I'm very sporadic, and like, so like I was doing jiu-jitsu for a couple months, and unfortunately I dislocated my shoulder twice already. Because I played football for a long time, and I already have a lot of injuries. So my right labrum is torn from the front and the back. So at this point, it's really easy for my shoulder to come out.
Pop out.
Yeah, so I gotta lay off the jiu-jitsu until I get my surgery and get that going and fix it up. So
good luck with that.
Yeah, it's gonna be a little desmadre, but I'm ready for it, and I feel like I gotta do it now, because if I wait till I'm older, it's gonna be harder for me to recover from that and get back to like a normal, bodily function to where I can still be active. Because being active is part of my life, and it's really important, bro. It keeps me sane, day in and day out. So I gotta do that. But my sporadic nature, I want to get involved in some type of coaching. Maybe somewhere near home or something. Just cause like I said, like, first of all, it's gonna help me with teaching, because as a teacher, like, I try to engage my students, my little storytelling, and I try to get into my little acting modes or whatever, and acting foolish and funny and doing all these different things. So if I get into like coaching and shit, it's gonna help me, number one, for my professional life. This is how I eat. Mm-hmm. More than eat, like, I actually feel happy and passionate and fulfillment. So I'm good. Like, I don't really need to search another path as far as that. But like I told you earlier, like, it's not gonna be there forever, you know what I'm saying? So I have to start looking and shit and figuring things out. And so like I feel like that would be a good opportunity for me to just kind of like find coaching and just use it on here. Like, I really want to use it as a platform for myself, and obviously everybody who who's creative and trying to do things with their life and comes from our society that, again, like when I look back at like pretty much everyone that's been on the podcast, it's all like our people, you know, and everyone is hustling and everyone's trying to push and everyone's trying to create. And in a sense, I see that as like the larger community of like the Drippy family, you know. And I always say that to people, like, hey, welcome to the family, you know. And so yeah, I mean, it's just like, if you ever have an idea or if you ever have get a word of anyone around the neighborhood that's teaching stuff like that, and obviously I'm gonna pay, you know what I mean? Like, nothing's free in this life. I always remember that, right?
I learned that.
And it's tough, bro. It's tough, you know, understanding that nothing is free, because sometimes we feel entitled.
Yeah, definitely.
You know, but I mean, we've definitely talked for a while, you know, and I hope you really enjoyed it.
Yes, sir.
There's probably gonna be a lot of like younger people that end up watching this. If you have anything uplifting or any advice or any like something real that you would like to leave them with, is there anything that you would like to share with the audience before we leave today?
I'll be honest, I never really like I have social media, but I don't really speak much on it. I don't know if you noticed. I don't really say much. I don't really talk much about my opinions on things.
For sure.
But I don't know about how I am about giving advice. I feel kind of weird when I have to do that because I'm still really young. I feel like I don't have that much.
Yeah. Well, how about, let's change the question. What is one thing you would have liked to know while you were still in high school about pursuing the things that matter the most about you? To you.
Don't worry about what people are gonna think as much. You know, sort of. If you got something, go for it. Try and kind of just do that. I've you know, I'm going to college and all. I'm getting a degree and all that, but I'm gonna focus on acting more so. And I think I just gotta do what I love, because that's the only way I'm gonna be happy in life. Because ever since I have started acting, it's like I've just been so happy. And I mean, you know, when I'm on set, it's the coolest thing, because it was something I was so passionate about. I was watching movie and TV. So I think whatever you're gonna do in life, just go for something you're passionate about. I mean, I'm still going for it. I haven't made it or anything, but I think I looked at like Samuel Jackson. He'd been acting since he was younger than me, and he didn't actually even get a big break till he was 45. You know, I don't think he ever. That was Pulp Fiction. I don't think he ever planned on having a big break. I think he just did it because he loved it. So I think as long as I keep loving acting, I'm gonna keep doing that. You know. So. You know, I think that just do it. It sounds kind of basic, but do you love? Do you love for sure?
Yeah, that's not basic at all, guys. Do what you love, and you're gonna find out that happiness is not too far away from you, especially when you feel like life is dark and shitty and everything around you is crumbling. Follow your spirit, follow your heart, follow what you love. Where can people find out more about you if they're curious?
You could look at my Instagram. I'll be honest, my name is kind of simple. I think I don't remember it all. Hold on.
He's like, hold on.
You could always look up URA Casting or From the Streets to the Set on Instagram. That's the acting company that I'm part of. You could look up my Instagram. It's David Anthony's, so with an S at the end and then an underscore.
Well, there you have it, guys. David Anthony today on the J-Full Experience. I really hope that you guys enjoyed this today, and I will catch you guys on the next episode. Love you guys as always. That was it, my guys.
That's right.
How did you feel?
It's weird talking on camera. I'm not gonna lie. Even like looking at Instagram or Snapchat, I never liked speaking on there and stuff like that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't like revealing that much about myself.
I guess it's good. It's good practice. You know. I totally get it. I totally get the whole fucking talking about yourself and shit. It's really weird.
Yeah, talking about myself is not my favorite thing.
It's totally weird. It's totally weird. Because I think definitely, I don't know. It depends, right? It depends. I mean, I feel like as far as like what we tried to do here, it kind of went smoothly. You know?
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, I don't.
It felt like it.
Yeah, that's what matters to me. You know, it's like it didn't feel like too forced. It didn't feel like we fumbled around too much. You know what I'm saying? Like kind of like a struggle to find out what's next. You know, and then pretty much like when I understood that, it was like, oh, you know what, it's cool. You know, we can finish it,
right?
And that's cool. You know, like that's it. Like that was the podcast, and I'm really happy with it. So I mean, for sure, bro. Like I said, you know, for me, this is a complete experiment. You know, when Berenice showed up, I was still doing questions. Like I had like my little cell phone or my computer, and I had questions there, and that works. That's good, like for like research purposes. But what I found out was that it was taking away a little bit from the realness of the moment. You know.
Well, it seemed like you just made everything connect real easy. Like you just thought of questions on the spot, but they was like, oh, those are good ones.
Yeah.
I had a question about you.
Yeah, man.
So you do want to do acting a little bit?
Yeah. I'm actually like really curious about it. But like I said, my biggest challenge, bro, is like memorizing shit. That's what I'm mostly afraid of.
Because mostly a lot of her stuff, you can start off with is background acting.
Yeah.
That's mainly what she does, and you know. I've spoken twice on camera now.
Yeah.
That's it.
So you're saying like it's kind of taking a while to kind of like develop and get into that point?
It takes a while.
I'm definitely interested in like the coaching, bro, the coaching aspect of it. Cause I'm currently writing a book.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, it is, but it's not necessarily creative. I'm co-writing it with my boy Hernandez. Like me and him, bro, we're really close, and in fact he started his creative avenue on YouTube a year before me, and he's already like over 1,000 subs and everything.
For real?
Yeah, like he's what do you call it on YouTube when you're not verified, but when you start making money on it. I forgot what it's called, man, but basically once you get over 1,000 subs and you get like frequent viewerships, they start paying you for ads. He's already there. His lane is more like gaming and stuff. Like he like for a while he was doing like Fortnite, and he does all sorts of gaming, and he's like also like motivational and shit like that.
I used to watch those gaming videos in like middle school.
Right.
Or even elementary school, I remember. Yeah.
And it's dope. And then what we realized was like, bro, like it took us a lot to get to become teachers. We struggled a lot, bro. Like it was a fucking hell and hard work, like crazy. But then, as much as we love teaching, it's not too viable for the type of future that we want. You know, we want the type of future where we have money to create. You know, because that's the truth, bro. With everything is that if you don't got the cheese to make power moves and shit, like you're not gonna do shit. You know, and I would love to have a lot of money one day so that we can have schools like that for kids that want to act, you know,
right.
And we could pay the coaches to come and do some classes for some 12-year-olds from the neighborhood that are going through some bullshit, and they're talented, but all they have is drama class in school.
Right. I mean, if you look at like boxing gyms, there's a lot of kids who come from the streets that end up as pro boxers because that gym is what they got.
What saves them.
It's what saves them. I think that, you know, there's places like that out there, but there's not a lot of different places. There's a lot of like, if you look at like sports, a lot of people who come from like rougher backgrounds end up in sports because that's what's available to them.
Yeah, especially those hardcore sports like UFC,
boxing,
and football, and they're like so angry that they get that chance to murder people for money. And it's like the perfect job.
Yeah.
Like in UFC, you know George Masvidal? He's like this crazy ass fool from Miami. He's like a Latino. Again, these fools are from the hood, bro. Like they're gangsters, they're G's. And
you ever seen the movie Dogfight on Instagram? Or not? It was Netflix. It's on Netflix.
No.
What's it's a documentary. You should watch it.
What's it about?
It's about it was in Dade County, in Florida, and it's about like this. It's like backyard street fighting in the hood and all that, and it's how like
George is probably in that.
Probably, I think. Does he wear a beanie a lot?
I don't know.
I don't know who it is, but it's Kimbo Slice. Remember him? He came out of there.
George Masvidal was in those fights.
Yeah, see, Dada 5000 or something like that. It's mostly about him and how he goes to fight Kimbo Slice, but it's all about like how that starts. And that's probably one of my favorite documentaries. I like gritty, like shows and movies a lot.
Yeah.
And that one's like that's a good movie. If you're, I haven't watched a lot of documentaries in my life. I want to watch more, but that one is
dope.
That's a dope one. That's a good one.
Yeah, hell yeah, bro. But yeah, like
Dogfight. DAWG.
Wait, DOWG.
Dogfight.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna check it out for sure, cause I really like fighting, bro. In fact, like right now after this, I'm gonna go try to catch the fight, the Khabib fight.
Oh, for real?
Yeah. He's supposed to be. This is supposed to be the fight, bro, cause it's two champions going at it. That's gonna just be supreme, you know. Like, and these guys are killers, man. They're both undefeated. Oh, I know. Right after tonight, someone will not be undefeated. So we'll see how that goes, man.
I have like a movie idea. It's actually a boxing movie idea.
Really?
I haven't written too much of it. More so still setting it up, but I really like the idea. I don't know. I haven't heard of too many other movies. Like, the only issue is they say every story's been told before. It's how you tell it that makes it different.
Mm.
So I told this guy I know who he's a writer, and Johnny Kirk, and he saw it and he's like, it kind of sounds like this movie, and he sent me one I had never heard of from like 30 years ago, and I was like, damn, like it's not the exact same, but it's got a similar like kind of idea. And he's like, it's all in how you tell it
and how you shoot it.
Yeah.
I feel like,
I mean, you know, obviously it's not the exact thing, but there's like slight similarities that you're like, damn, I thought I came up with that.
Yeah, you're like, I thought I was fucking creative as shit.
I thought I was creative as shit until now.
Yeah, it'd be like that, bro. I've noticed, bro, like when I read writers, there's always like common themes. People always like fucking love. You know, when the fuck are people gonna stop writing about love? Never. All those emotions, like love, happiness, anger, and everything, like everything that's human, bro. Like what we are thinking about today, people were thinking about and feeling 2,000 years ago. That's the bottom line. And people were writing about it and expressing about it, and it goes back to the days of Athens and theater. You know, like they didn't have movies, but they had theater.
Yeah.
That's how people got entertained. And the same morals and ethics and shit was going on. You know? So I don't know. I'm not too afraid of saying something that's been said before, because I'm owning it. I'm saying it. And not only am I saying it, but I'm also saying that it's a possibility that somebody else already said it. You know, but if you want to be angry at me for saying something that you said, then oh well. You know, like what I'm not gonna do is take credit for someone's work. You know, like I'm not gonna steal your work of art and then write it and pretend like I wrote it. You know, like that's why quoting is a thing. You know, so that's probably one thing that I learned from college was like the importance of giving people credit for their like intellectual work, because it's fair game. You know what I mean? Like you don't fucking go around just stealing people's fucking cars and shit and claiming them as your own. I don't. I know people do that shit, but then you get in trouble. You know what I'm saying? That's just life. You know, it's a game, and you gotta play the game by the rules. If you don't play by the rules, you're gonna get gypped over, right? So
that's what's up. Woo! It'd be cool to see you on screen though.
I think it'd be interesting, man, and I can definitely. I don't know. One idea that I have is like, if you ever need like a Chicano teacher, like it's totally possible.
Definitely.
You know, like there's always some type of plot in some type of situation, right? Maybe you're that student struggling in school, acting a fool, you know, and then I'll be like the teacher that's like just kind of navigating the situation.
It was a stand and deliver.
Yes. And don't get me wrong, like that movie is the shit, bro.
It is the shit.
Like, in fact, I would say that movie has a lot to do with the reason that I'm a teacher today.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, because I looked at that character. I analyzed the character. John Stamos, right?
Edward James
Almost. And John Stamos. And the white guy. And it was powerful, bro. I was like, a teacher really did that. Of course, the movie like sensationalizes a lot of different shit that probably didn't really happen in real life. Yeah. Like, they failed to say that there was actually a program. Like, he didn't come in there and just get random bozos from algebra 1 to calculus. Like, that never happened. There was a feeder school, and the kids that he got were like kids that were already at that level. So he was able to take calculus. I'm sure he also had algebra 1 classes, and then, you know, he had that interaction and shit. But I don't think that ever happened where he got an algebra 1 kid from junior year to senior year and got him to pass calculus, AP calculus with a 4 and a 5. But regardless, the story's still powerful, right? Got some gangster ass Chicanos from the neighborhood.
Yeah, Lou Diamond Phillips was the cholo in it. Yeah.
I love his part.
I like that part where he brings his grandma to the house and he's like, on the
so
first
cool.
night of Christmas, a cholo came to me.
Dude, it's so cool, man. Like, I just seen all those parts and bits and just thinking like, this is beautiful, man. Like, the culture is definitely beautiful, and like I never want to overstep my boundaries or anything, and you know, like, take kind of, we live in that world, you know, like, where everything is easily being able to, like, you could get your culture jacked and shit like that. But just, I feel like just being nice and being respectful and understanding people's like cultures and you know, keeping it to that point and without having to take it on and like make it seem like that's my culture or whatever, you know. It's kind of like a tricky place to navigate, but not really, right? Because like, you know who you are,